From utilities, to the electric chair, to ethics, to Nancy Mace being elected to the South Carolina House of Representatives, I sit down exclusively with State Senator Sandy Senn for a special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And after the interview, the senator had a lot to say about 526. She tells me she still wants 526 completed, and that now the ball is in Charleston County hands. She also tells me this, quote, she does not understand why there's such a delay, unquote. She went on to say this, quote, it's like the project is stuck in molasses and that the county is doing nothing to get the show on the road, unquote. Well, Senator Senn, it is so good to see you again.
Hi, Quintin. Good to see you. Good to be back home.
Yes, home, yeah. Let me talk about that because you just came back from Columbia.
Did.
There's so much going on right there.
Well, there is, except for this past week, they had some weather in the upstate and the Midlands, so we had 2 days canceled.
Wow.
But anyway, ready to get back to work next week.
And you talk about next week, let me talk to you about the obvious. And this is the headline from the state newspaper. Mm-hmm. Lawmakers want to ban Scanner from making campaign contributions. Tell me why now.
Right. Well, I was one of the people who sponsored one of the bills. I had no idea that there were 3 others, and actually 2 right here for the Low Country with my friends Leon and Peter. So from now we're going to have to get together on what we're sponsoring, maybe do it together. I did get a phone call that mine is going to be supported by a couple of outside interest groups of all 4 of the ones that were supported or produced, because I basically am asking for any type of entity that goes before the Public Service Commission that is a monopoly, that they not be able to give money. So it's not just SCANA or anything like that. It's basically, since we basically can control who the PSC members are and they're making all the decisions, then I just don't think it's really right that they that these folks who go before the PSC give money to us. Never even thought about it until this whole debacle with SCE&G. But I do make a big distinction. It's not just those who go before the PSC, it's those who don't have any competition. That's where we have given SCE&G and other monopolies just obviously a very clear, unfair advantage. And so I think if you've got competition, then your competition is going to help you right itself. But this whole situation with VC Summer has brought all of these type of problems to light. And you actually told the state newspaper this, quote, as a first-term senator, it never occurred to me that here we are regulating these industries and here they are turning around and giving us money like you just mentioned. Right. You also said this, quote, they've been doing this for years and years and years, and it gave them a certain amount of sway. It did. It does, because, $1,000 isn't going to do much, but I am a freshman, so they gave me $500 in November and then another $500 for the next session. And that's not going to, buy them really anything from me, that's for sure. I gave the money they gave me back. I decided to give it to the Political Action Council, which is a local nonprofit that would give the money, would basically give one-time bridge loans to folks in need who need electrical services. Sure. So that's what I decided to do with it rather than return it to SCANA. But you got to think that the lawmakers who have been around for years and years have received thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And a lot of it probably already spent on other campaign cycles, and would be very difficult for them to give back. And it certainly would at least buy them an open door to my office, and certainly would buy those who've gotten a lot of money an open door. Doesn't mean we'd listen to them, doesn't mean we'd agree with them, but we're going to sit down and listen. And heck, I sit down and listen to people who would have no possibility of giving money, all these different groups that, educational groups or stuff like that. I mean, they always get to come into my office too, that's for sure. So really anybody's going to be able to come see me if they want to come see me. But definitely these groups who give lots of money to campaigns, they have an open door. And you talk about education. Let me take you to school buses. You'll all actually take that up in the Senate next week. We already did. That was one veto we got to on Monday. So school buses are back on now. We're going to be getting a bunch of new school buses. It was a unanimous decision, I think, in both houses, certainly in my house, or in the Senate. And then I think the governor's also going to be giving the Volkswagen money over to school buses. It's still not going to be enough. For those of you who have children in Charleston County, if you want to go to my Facebook page, there's a link that will tell you if your child is riding one of those bad potentially fire-strewn buses. It tells you how to learn that, looking at the numbers and where those numbers are placed on the bus. But even then, you shouldn't feel very confident because of the backup buses when our kids have, the buses have some type of failure and breakdown. The backup buses that come and pick up the kids from the stranded bus, those are the fire buses.
And obviously another issue right now is to talk about the comeback, really, of electric chair for criminals.
I'm on that committee.
Talk to me more about that.
It's not so much a comeback of the electric chair, it is just that Big Pharma is basically trying to take away states' abilities to basically execute or carry out the death sentence. And what they say is they do not want their drugs to be used by killing someone, rather they're supposed to be helping people. I get it, but if they're not going to sell us the drugs for lethal injection, then there are obviously other methods in which you can carry out electrocution, there are other different types of ways you can carry out a death sentence. And so that's the problem. It's just that every drug that we have to be able to administer a lethal injection has expired. And therefore, unless we can basically shield Big Pharma so that they are going to sell us the drugs, then basically I don't see that we have any other choice other than carry out our state's law, which is that we are a death penalty state. And there are a lot of people on death row who have elected lethal injection. One is actually elected for the electric chair. But either way, we have to have some ability to carry out what the law is in our state.
And you talked a little bit about it when my phone froze on me, but you want to protect those companies by shielding them. I know there's some sort of law with that as well, right?
Well, there's a proposal
Right.
to basically keep their identities unknown,
Right.
and that has been successful in several other states. So that's just one of the possibilities that we're examining.
Let me bring you back home. Nancy Mace, she's a new House District
Yeah,
Representative for 99.
very excited, Republican.
When you look back to Tuesday to now, what sticks out to you about this special election that just happened?
Well, I mean, first of all, we had two women running, but one Democrat and one Republican.
Right.
So obviously, I was going to be supportive of Nancy. I was very proud to see those two women getting out and running, and just looking forward to Nancy swearing in. I think is on Tuesday, so she'll be with us in the State House, and we've added another one to the number. So I'm excited about that.
And obviously, this is your second time as senator, so second term that is.
Yeah, but they consider me a freshman for 4 years.
Still, wow.
I'm a freshman.
Yeah. What is it like for you to be back there again?
Well, now I get it a little bit. The first year there's a learning curve, no doubt. I mean, it's an intimidating place. Just to speak, you have to basically go through, it's like, if I want to speak, I have to stand up, and the guy in purple, our lieutenant governor,
Right.
will say, "Senator from Charleston, for
Right.
what purpose do you rise?" And I have to say, to see if the other senator will yield. And
Wow.
he'll turn to them. Was the senator yield? Yes, the senator yields. Senator from Charleston. So it's a whole process just to be able to ask a question. But so that part I've now gotten down. I'm not shy about grabbing the microphone anymore. Got the procedure down. And now it's just a matter of learning how to really get things accomplished. It's a lot more than just putting forth a bill. You've got to be able to get the leadership to let your bill come out of the drawer. And you have to understand why they would or would not. And all of that's a process.
You know what? I forgot to ask you this. And this is another big topic here around town.
Sure.
I'm all over the place today. But offshore drilling. Where are you with this discussion?
That's an easy one for me. I don't support offshore drilling. I don't support the referendum either. I'm kind of surprised that was put forth. And put forth by a good friend of mine, but who is a coastal senator. I'm sure he had a good reason for that, but first of all, we've got a lot of industry in our state already, and we have a beautiful, beautiful state, and there are a lot of other alternative methods of energy now, as we see. I mean, I'm very supportive of solar, even wind. I mean, there are all sorts of clean energy resources that I think we need to be investing in and exploring more, and I don't want to take any chances with our beautiful, beautiful coastline.
What other issues you want to tackle in the State House right now?
I'm dealing with spoofing, people who fake phone numbers, and like I got hit by
Right.
that one time. This guy faked my phone number and sent it out to all voters in my district and made it look like the call was coming from me and saying things that, trying to get me to convince me to vote one way or the other. He routed a bunch of phone calls to my law office, which was inappropriate, I felt. and basically clogged up my law office instead of my Senate office. I'm dealing with that. I've supported another bill that would fix a CDV issue that happened that the Supreme Court dealt with earlier. Of course, I've also sponsored this one bill dealing sort of with ethics and with monopolies for the PSC. There's a lot of stuff I'm dabbling in right now.
Ethics, ethics, ethics. That's another talk around the State House and really around the state. How do we even get here?
Well, actually, I think right now we need to let the new Ethics Commission do its job. I mean, we've now gotten a whole nother process. We've got all these independent people. It's a new process. And, you know, I don't know how you can really say ethics is not working because all these people are getting arrested, you know, pleading guilty. So I'd say something's working there. But we've got this new commission in place. I'm excited to see how they work. Transparency now is that we have to turn in our campaign accounts. I've always done that. I mean, I've always turned mine in every single time. But now it's a rule. So all legislators have to turn in their campaign account activity so you can see what they're spending money on.
Right.
And I think just that transparency is going to help a lot. It saddens me, really, what all happened. And, yeah, I can't explain how any of that could go down. But I think that there are safeguards in place now.
State Senator Sandy Senn, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this.
Thanks, Quintin.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.